got to start here with the fact that I desperately want to know what this conversation sounded like when Kalanji
he was
and
just in the chat though. He was just in the chat. Tell him to come
who
up.
is it? Kalanji's in the chat. Because when Kalanji
He
and Minister
was.
Server ran, where's Kalanji at? Jump up on the screen.
He
When
was. He was just promoting the show.
he said he loved Killer Mike's album. Uh, uh, Minister Server, everybody co-signing the new album from Killer Mike, which I have listened to, and
Here we go. It's too early for all this, man.
Yeah, yo, listen, me and Kalanji in the same city right now. Let me get back to Chicago before we go in on him.
Go ahead, man. I'm just playing.
I'm in his city, so let me before we go in on Kalanji and say anything reckless. Let me get back to Illinois. Let me get back to the South Side of Chicago.
No. I'm not saying anything reckless about Kalanji. I'm saying I'm curious how the conversation
went.
Because
I'm down to
co-sign
talk bad about people. I just got to get back to my base.
Yeah, you got to get back to your. You better watch out. And I'm about to show up down there, so we all got to be careful. But
be cool, right? Yeah, because I already checked in. I was over there in East Point.
You checked in?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to check in. I got to check in.
I'm going to this circus to see some at Magic City. I'm going to see some magicians cut people in half or whatever they do. The Magic Show City, whatever.
So Marcel, I definitely want to talk. I definitely want to hear about your new album. But I saw your review on Facebook of Killer Mike's album, and I thought, if I'm being perfectly honest and fair, my bias and jokes aside, I think I agree with your review. I agree with Geechee's critique. We can get to that in a second. I agree with your review. I like how you approached the review. I thought it made sense. And if I put my biases and jokes aside, I think what you said is probably right. But let me let you go ahead and let's start there. What did you think of Killer Mike's new album, and what was the point you were trying to make in discussing and describing it?
So it's funny, man, because like I have like somebody told me I should put the review on Hood Communist. Everybody's hip hop letter out of Cincinnati wanted me to like publish that review, and then you guys hit me up. So like I'm just writing my hot takes, right? So I had no idea that like it would get shared so many times, that people would talk about it so much, right? So good morning, thank you guys for having me. So my relationship with Killer Mike is very interesting. And I've told you a lot over the last couple of years, Jared, that like watching my favorite rapper go this particular way has been very frustrating. So like, just to give you like some little context, right? So I've been to Killer Mike fan since I was in high school. I'm 39. You know what I'm saying? And big fan. I always following his music. Literally in Baton Rouge, they called me the Baton Rouge Killer Mike. You know what I'm saying? Coming up as an MC. I was able to open for Run the Jewels when they first started, like 10 years ago. And like this is when, you know, they selling out, they doing Coachella now. Back at the time, you know what I'm saying? They weren't even selling out like 300 cap venues. So I was able to open up for like Run the Jewels when it was really, really early. And like literally like Killer Mike came to the green room after the show. I gave him a ride to a hotel, and he was somewhat like, you know, definitely my first quote unquote big name cosign, and kind of like a mentor to me. You know what I'm saying? Every time he would come to Louisiana, you know what I'm saying, I pull up on him, go on the tour bus, and like, you know, he owed me a verse. It's probably never gonna happen, especially after fucking with y'all niggas. Like, it's never gonna happen now. You know what I'm saying? But like, so we have a relationship. You know, like his DJ track star is from St. Louis, and so I have a connection through Tempo, through that way or whatever. So like I have some connections to him, and like and there's a lot of similarities between us. You know what I'm saying? Large black men, socio-political content. You got the education side, the street side. Like, you know, when he said, he was like, you could be my little brother, right? So contextually, I just want to give that particular context, right? But over the last 4 or 5 years, man, like watching them go further and further right politically, as I learn and politically educate myself and go further and further left, you know what I'm saying? The contradictions was definitely heightened. So when I heard he was dropping the album, I'm just like, you know, I'm seeing pictures with him and Umar. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh boy, okay. But I heard he's dropping his album, and it's like, you know what? I have this policy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try not to front on hip hop, right? And you know, like I try not to, like, I always like I forever want to remain a fan of the art and the culture. So I'm not listening to none of the press rollout. So all those clips that Geechee is cutting up, and I'm like, I'm not listening. I'm gonna listen. I'm just gonna listen to the album because I already know if Geechee is, look, if Geechee ever makes a clip out of something I say on the interview, I know how to fucked up. Cause you know what I'm saying? If Geechee's ever got me on social media a sound bite, then I know, you know, whatever. So I'm not listening to none of the press rollout. I'm just gonna listen to the album, right? I'm just gonna listen to the album, and it's taken for what it's worth. And I love the album. And from a hip hop standpoint, from a Southern standpoint, from a person who similarly, you know, I'm a son of a gospel musician. You know what I'm saying? Um, um, just that the whole black church artistic, you know, angle that he took or what have you. And then just, you know, hardcore aggressive rap. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed the album. You know what I'm saying? Now, with that said, you know what I'm saying, if you look at the point number 2, you know what I'm saying, the biases and contradictions. This is someone who I can say at this point, you know, you know, I know I'm not in contact with him like I used to be or what have you. But just like I try to just lay out, you know, I say my contradictions are based on the fact that in the last 3 or 4 years, my politics have shifted further left in the Black radical tradition, specifically into the realm of pan-Africanism and socialism. Though Mike totes himself as a pan-African gangster rapper, he also is a self-proclaimed capitalist, which is in direct contradiction to pan-Africanism. He's been politically going further and further to the right as he openly promotes the myth of Black buying power, kicks it with sports with Governor Kemp, and has been super solid on Cop City and Atlanta, amongst other things. So that was just like some quick things I could just kind of throw out there, you know what I'm saying, to like show my contradictions. And I was talking to my friends last night, and they was like, it's crazy how most people just totally skip point number 2. You know what I'm saying? Point number 2, they won't talk about that or whatever because, you know, but I mean, it was like I think Jared, I think talking that shit is about you. I think the song absolutely. I think no, for real, seriously. I think talking that shit is about you.
I don't submit my bars.
I wouldn't be yeah. And I think look, I'm not trying to put my ego into the situation, but like if you remember the last conversation we had, you know, you used the Kill Your Masters, the one interview that you and I did. You used the Kill Your Masters logo or what have you, right? And so like if you look at it, the thumbnail is Kill Your Masters. And we talked about Killer Mike. So when he said something about like some little man, like I could be reaching, but that could be about me because he was big bro to me. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, if not you specifically, like you are one of the main people coming from his left that's critical of him. You know what I'm saying? It's so I think I don't know. I definitely know he's talking like that's where it's coming from because nobody else from the left is coming at him, right? And then for me as a person who was little bro, you know what I mean? Now, you know, rappers be listening to lyrics and shit, be trying to decipher who's saying what to who or whatever. But I think I don't know. I'm just saying. But I enjoyed or people like you, correct. I enjoyed the album. It slapped. It go like one thing that one point that what I really appreciate about it is like what Killer Mike did to me is Southern hip hop, right? It's not a lot of people when they think about hip hop, they think about like boom bap, soul sample, blah 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 blah. Like, nah, man, you drop this equipment off in the middle of a country, this is what a country boy gonna make. You know what I'm saying? And it's even with his contradictions, and you know things like that politically, like he said a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel it. I feel it on a couple different levels.
So let's stay there a little bit. So my question is, when we think about so myths, right? Talk about myth of Black buying power and myths. some people say myths can be used as stories and to help guide information instead of being a flat out lie. But when you talk about storytelling, right, and you talk about the role of an artist, and I don't know if you read the Hood Communist article that I sent you, but is there a responsibility that he have, and is there, you know, how do you feel about the storytelling that he's giving, and then how it impacts his audience? And can you separate those things from the art of liking the beat knock or the way he ride the beat or whatever he's doing, right? Should those things be separated, and how do you separate it? Yeah, so go there, especially with
I mean, so it's tricky with someone like Killer Mike. It's because if we agree with him politically or not, he's not stupid. He's an intelligent person, right? He articulates well, right? For me, like, I like a lot of bullshit. I like a lot of foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So but however, I do believe that once you present yourself in an authoritative manner, you present yourself to be like, someone that people are listening to. I feel like you do have a responsibility to speak honestly. You know what I'm saying? Now, like for me, I'm like a side example, right? I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I really stopped I really kind of fell off of Jay-Z like once he like full on went into branding black capitalism as revolution, right? So I would listen to Jay-Z rap about selling crack all day. It get my calculator out, it do the numbers of how many birds with him. I enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy it's entertaining and whatever. But however, when he starts talking, when he gets to 444, which sounds good sonically, or when he gets to a written testimony, which is electronica, which is a ode to black capitalism, what have you, but you're trying to pass it off as black consciousness. That's when I kind of depart from it, right? So with Killer Mike in this capacity, I am able to separate the two as far as like what sounds good as a fan of rap, what sounds good in the car. Like, I like the shit talk of it, right? But it gets dangerous and it becomes problematic to when the storytelling of rebranding, what is revolutionary, what is, you know what I'm saying, pan-africanism as black capitalism. So and I think like that's the reason why we got to have these type of critiques, right? It's like Jared. It's like, when you like it too much, that's when you really got to start breaking it down. You know what I'm saying? Like ask yourself, why do you like it?
Hey, I got it. I got the album playing in the background underneath us, in my headset, and it's dope. The album's dope. I get your point about the contradictions and about what happened.
No, everybody went blank except for me. Okay, y'all back. Y'all are back. All right.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
We good.
No, I was just saying that I've been listening a little bit to the album in the background underneath, as we've been talking, and everything I think you said is correct. Even to your point about how did you phrase it? Your point number 5. This is what a real Southern hip hop album sounds like. I get it. I like, and so but I also appreciate what you're saying about the politics, and I think that's anyway. So I just appreciate the whole the point that you're making there.
So another thing. So Jared has yet to, or any of us have yet to produce the research that proves that just naming somebody is not going to thrust somebody into radical studying. So there's a lot of people saying, well, he mentioned John Henry Clark. I mean, he mentioned Asada and all this other shit. And I know I was being cheeky or funny when I said that because he support Cop City, he probably will help bring Asada back and get locked up, right? So would you say that it becomes disingenuous, problematic when he start name dropping. Oh, I studied John Henry Clark. John Henry Clark is socialist, right? Oh, Fred Hampton. These people are socialists. So how do you feel? Because I don't hear anything. Everything is political, obviously, but he is speaking loudly about social issues. He's thrust himself as pretty much the leader in the rap world at this point. I mean, I guess all the young boys and all these other people, but mainstream artists, he's kind of like the guy everybody know. And then I guess he dropped this album in perfect timing. Again, the responsibility of doing that and being disingenuous, but also, do you believe? And I think you said something radicalized you, and I know other people who said that, but do you believe that that is on a scale helpful to our politics or helpful in general?
So it's tricky that you say that, man. I'm gonna say yes and no, because both of my parents, neither one of my parents were. Uh, uh, I was radical. I came to the consciousness via hip hop. So like and I think that's the reason why I gravitate towards a particular type of MC, um, as a fan and as an artist, because I want to be, for a young dude with one foot in the streets and one foot in the schoolhouse, what Dead Prez was for me, right? And so with Dead, it was at a point in time when I started getting in trouble, and had an older cousin who was a 5%er, you know what I'm saying, whatever. He saw I was getting in trouble. He gave me hip hop albums, and I'm listening to like all these different kinds of hip hop, and they're mentioning these names that I've never heard before. He was like, okay, go get the books, right? And so I started asking questions about these different people. He gave me the books. I started reading, and like that was a huge part of me, kind of like making sure that the foot that was in the street, went in a better path, right? And so I do think it has value to young people who don't know any better to hear these names for the first time, coming from someone who's cool as shit. You know what I'm saying? Got a whole lot of money, dresses nice, blah, 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 blah. I think it does have some type of value. However, 39-year-old me understands the contradiction. Like I was telling my friends last night, because so I live in Oklahoma now, but I'm on tour. I'm back in Baton Rouge. I had a show in New Orleans last night. And so all my friends who I haven't seen are asking me about this review. I'm like, damn, I must have wrote the hell out of this review, because everybody want to talk about this review, right? But but so they're asking me, that's like, well, he's talking about this, and I was like, honestly, like all these quote unquote revolution, not quote unquote, but all these revolutionaries that we look up to, they won't fuck with none of us. Like they wouldn't, even if they enjoyed the music. All these revolutions that we look up to would not like the music industry. They would absolutely be critical of how the rap industrial complex is first cousins, of not if not twin brothers, with the prison industrial complex. They would absolutely be critical of your Def Jams and not even Russell, but any parent. You know what I'm saying? They would absolutely be critical of even back Sylvia Robinson, or what I'm saying, or Tony Draper, all these black CEOs and capitalists, right? So all these people that we look up to, who are, what I'm saying, uh Brother Stokely, before it was Kwame, Black Power was not Black visibility. So that would be critical of where hip hop is, period. So even for myself, sometimes I feel like it's a contradiction to I'm not signed to no major label, I'm independent or whatever, right? But like this is the same contradiction that when Jay-Z's talk about Che Guevara. Come on, man. He wouldn't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Fred Hampton would be he'd be beating all our ass with a Panther newspaper. You know what I'm saying? So it's absolutely a contradiction. Um, for a younger person who doesn't know any better, as a person that it did help. Now, granted, Dead Prez Let's Get Free is arguably the greatest, definitely of the 21st century, the greatest conscious hip hop album. And the difference between what Dead Prez did and what Killer Mike does is Dead Prez actually laid out their politics in the song. We organized like an ants in the economy, turn a community to a socialist economy. I didn't know shit about socialism. You know what I'm saying? But they broke down like what they wanted to do, what redistribution is. So Let's Get Free, they laid out their politics, right? Killer Mike, he says these different names, right? And so we know that they're martyrs We know that they're political prisoners, whatever, but he doesn't really lay out their politics. Because if he does lay out their politics, then we'll easily see the contradictions in it or what have you, right? But niggas don't read anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't read books. They're not doing the research, right? I'm a history major. I got my degree in history. I'm a history teacher. So I read a lot. You know, so I don't necessarily read books, but I'm constantly researching. And I'm kind of like, just even as an artist, I'm always like trying to take this information and see how I can regurgitate it to people who might not necessarily have access to the same educational resources, right? And so Killer Mike doesn't do that. Like you know, aside of, you know, there's different people that he's you know what I'm saying, they wouldn't be cool with him, you know what I'm saying, buddying up with Governor Kemp or what have you, or buddying up with fucking Herschel Walker. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like they would be like, nah, cuz it's not going down like that.
Yeah, just quickly, I think it's a net negative when artists kind of appropriate the name and the references without the politics, and then they act in an exactly opposite way. It's a net negative. I don't think it leads to. But Diallo, were you trying to jump in?
Well, there's a lot to cover here, but ultimately, I mean, it's sounding like the fact that the album is sonically pleasing to the ears, that it is a good album that's full of shit. Wouldn't that be a liability? Or as you mentioned, Kwame Ture said a half truth is more dangerous than a full lie. So I've always had more issues with like you said, Jay-Z trying to go political, Jay Guevara or Killer Mike than I've had with Trick Daddy or you know, Stanky Leg, that overtly apolitical, overtly hollow music versus hollow music that has the trappings of substance. So I think it's a tragedy and more of a liability for the Black community and our struggles in general that Killer Mike is able to has such talent being used to such a degree, you know, and seducing people and he's not using Dr. Clark and our revolutionary trappings as an awakening. He's using it as bait. He's using our ancestors and our struggle as bait to reel in our youth into a doomed system, a doomed ideology, and leading them to their own destruction. I mean, he's sweetening poison with that. So I think he is being given too much consideration, even in your review. You know, as I read it.
It's like
real quick.
Okay.
Before you respond to that, also, like, I don't know if y'all even talked about this already, but what's her name? Lady Gaga posted Joy James' Revolutionary Love book, right? And so the question is kind of like, oh well, shit, Lady Gaga got it and she posted it. So kind of when you respond to what Diallo said, but like again, and I know Jared just made a point, but I just want to kind of go back to that, like, will Lady Gaga lead to George Jackson and some other shit by posting Joy James, or anybody? Would anybody go to George Jackson? But go ahead.
No, so I agree with you. So all the young kids think that I hate J. Cole, right? For me personally, as a conscious hip hop artist, as a person with a level of what you want to call it, politics or whatever, I grade conscious hip hop on a much harder curve than anybody else, right? So people think I hate J. Cole because I'm like, J. Cole is not a conscious hip hop artist. Does he have some social commentary? Cool. Like even for me, like if you at one point, social commentary was just enough for me. For somebody to say, it sucks that the schools are bad and Black people just stop killing Black people and the police are occupying my community, right? So that's social commentary, and then when you get into consciousness, you kind of get a little deeper, and then when you get to the political aspect, you go into deeper, right? Like a person like J. Cole, you know, and this just to prove my point, right? A person like J. Cole had a song called Crooked Smile, and with the song was about uplifting women, and on the same song calls women bitches. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, but so I'm critical of like, yo, we can't call this the pinnacle of conscious hip hop, and because he goes to Ferguson and takes a picture, you know what I'm saying, after Mike Brown or whatever, whatever, right? And so I agree with you, Diallo, in the sense that it's just like I'm going to be less critical of apolitical artists in music, you know what I'm saying, than I would of a Killer Mike. And it's like the thing about Killer Mike is that's tricky to me is that I kind of know him, and like, do I think that he's read some of these people that he's rapping about? Do I think that he knows something about them? I do think so. I do think so. As a person who's been on this tour bus, I've seen the books, right? As a person who just like I said, I see a lot of myself in Killer Mike. He sees a lot. He said the same about me. Like as a person who that big hood nigga who will talk all the shit but still read books or whatever, I do think he's that person. But with that said, he's made a whole lot more money. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of behooves him to go rightward into the black capitalism, you know what I'm saying, more than it does to go into the politics. And so I think I do think, am I saying that he's right or what have you? No, but I don't think, but I don't think he's put on a total front, is what I'm saying.
But brother,
I think the money is taking over more than anything.
But brother, if what you're saying, and I have no reason to doubt you, that he has done the study, what you're saying is even more of a condemnation. Everything you're saying about him is burying him deeper in the traitor category. Because you're saying he's engaging in these behaviors with a deep understanding of the two sides. So he's read the scholars, he understands the divergence between the two ideologies and the two agendas, but yet he acts as a bridge, that he's building a bridge between two oppositional ideologies and agendas, and he understands them both, that they should be in absolute warfare and conflict, but this fake bridge building, and he's over there and with the NRA, the National Rifle Association, that's one step down or one step up from the KKK. So the fact that you're telling me, listen, this brother reads the books, he understands, he has an in-depth understanding of Black radical ideology, Black radical agenda, Black radical values, but yet he comes and blends that in with capitalism integration. So everything you're saying about him is, to me, and being that you have personal experience with the brother, unlike myself, is a further condemnation of him.
I agree. I mean, he's been on Renegade Culture. If Kalonji tells Killer Mike to post something on Instagram, he'll post it, right? Like he's done work with FTP. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kalonji and shout out to Mr. Server. We saw that they was at the party. You know what I'm saying? So so he does do the grassroots stuff in Atlanta. It's once again.
So what
No. I'm saying I agree with you. And I'm saying that's when I said amongst other things, right? These are the contradictions that we're talking about, right? So I agree with you. Like he does know better, and he does like if you listen, like I don't listen to his interviews much anymore, but whatever. But he's talked about how like he listens to like these right wing people on AM radio. You know what I'm saying? And when he sees them in the airport, he runs up and says, "Hey, I'm a fan of your work," and they're like, "Hey, who is this big black dude?" You know what I'm saying? Or like with Jared, he had the book of he had Jared's book Next to Time Is So Well. So he absolutely does study these kind of, and I'm just pointing out like that's what happens. I'm not saying it's a good thing, or I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not excusing it, but what I'm saying is therein lies the contradiction to Geechee, right? To speak to what Geechee said. Do I if oh, I was wondering, let me respond to Geechee real quick. You asked, does Lady Gaga posting Joy James Revolutionary Love? Like, ask the question again, please.
So it's being celebrated as something that, well, no, I'm saying it's being celebrated as something good. So my question is like, what is a Lady Gaga going to do to Joyce James? George James, is it going to lead people to George Jackson? They're going to read George James now that Gaga posted, and through that they're going to discover Mumia and George, and they're going to, like, what's the chances of people even not being even radicalized, but even being able to intelligently speak about any of those people in that book? Because I actually disagree. I don't think Killer Mike are reading none of them books. I don't think you're reading them books. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's there, but I don't think he's reading.
Well, I think what you're saying now in 2023, I would say slim to none, because the way young people specifically engage the internet is like, and I so like just like the meme that says, when black people say, I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, that's the prayer, right? That's the prayer. I'm keeping my prayers, that's the prayer, right? So now I think the way people engage things via social media, uh, your support of Joy James ends with you clicking the double tap on Instagram. So to answer your question, I don't think no, I don't think Lady Gaga, her posting Joy James would do anything to get people to lead to George Jackson or Matula.
Um, uh, Dr. Bobby Wright said that there's only one contradiction in the Black community, and that there are no contradictions. And I have to say that I don't think that Killer Mike has any contradictions, because his conclusions and his advocacy are consistent. He has followed one path since he became this public figure, in terms of sitting across from Bernie Sanders, or whether he's, like you said, on Riot. He's been pretty on a straight trajectory. Whether he's telling that lie about not buying a $500,000 chain and investing in real estate, and his public persona and the way it's being crafted and constructed, with the white allies who see him as very useful, our enemies who see him as extremely useful, there is no contradiction there. Because for a capitalist to take the struggles of the oppressed and to manipulate, to distort, and resell it back to us, that's not a contradiction. They've been doing that since the foundings. Since the early days of European imperialism, they would take African folklore, African rituals, African traditions, and warp them, fuse them with Christianity and other Western ideas, and sell it back to us. So in reality, because when you say contradiction, it would suggest that Killer Mike has some type of internal conflict, some type of ongoing internal, and that would suggest that there is some potential that we could bring him back, or that we should have some level of sympathy, because he's conflicted internally, like when Malcolm was deciding what to do with the Nation of Islam, or Malcolm wanting to unite with the larger of the Black community, where his organization would say, no, we're a tight knit, and we only deal with people within our sphere. Those are the but I think it gives Killer Mike a pass, asserting that he has some type of contradiction, which would suggest that there are dueling understandings, there's dueling agendas, there's something going on in his mind is saying, listen, I know this thing is right, I know this thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to best navigate this on behalf of the people, when that's not what he's doing at all. I don't think that there's contradiction. I think that he's doing what he's been mentored, like you said, Thomas Sowell and these other Uncle Toms and these white capitalists that he plays footsie with, these right-wing politicians and organizations. He's being well trained, if not groomed, to play that role as the fence sitter, to bring Black people, because when Black people have a lot of justified rage, we have a lot of justified rage. And to channel that rage that is fused with African talent and the other African assets that we have, to channel that rage into capitalist aspirations, that's treason. And we always act like our traitors are somehow selling us out and stabbing us in the back. Oh, I tripped and fell, and that's how the knife got in your back. I would have never deliberately stabbed you in the back consciously and planned to do premeditated. It seems like Killer Mike is first degree premeditated coonery. It's not he slipped and fell, or he's just struggling with some ideas that don't mesh. and he's struggling to make things go together that don't. I don't think there's any internal contradiction or struggle in that man. I think he's a sellout capitalizing on opportunistic. He's an opportunist and a traitor. And for that,
yeah,
that's
so
why
I'm not here to be. Listen, I'm not here to be the Killer Mike defender. So that's talk to him about that yourself. Like I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I hear what you're saying, but like I hear what you're saying. I receive it, but like I'm not the avatar for Killer Mike. So you know that's if him and Jerry can mend that relationship, he can finally come on the podcast. Y'all can ask him that your damn self.
We don't have to mend the relationship. He's more than welcome to. He's always welcome.
I mean, you made him mad.
There's never been an issue.
He had to tell you to stop.
No, he told me to leave him. He told me to leave him alone.
He didn't say leave me alone. He told me to stop sliding into his DMs.
Like I'm saying, so what I'm saying is,
he told Jared, listen, get out my DMs.
I'm saying, like, I can give you as a person who's been around him. Now, mind you, the last time I was on the tour bus was like 2016, right? So who knows where he's been since then? I can tell you what I saw. If you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you opine differently, but like, I'm not here to defend Killer Mike. I'm here to explain what I said in the interview.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Let me
in the review.